The Canon RF 70-200 2.8L lens is one of those lenses that just make you go, wow. It's like the Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson lens. You would see him down the street and you would just go, wow. A local Houston photographer, my buddy Justin. Check him out on Instagram. He's a great sports photographer. Justin invited me to a local high school football game, and this lens performed. How well did it perform? Let's take a look. Fast shutter speed, low aperture, full focus. Any distractions can cost you. I am using sports photography to show off this lens because it is one of the most versatile environments in photography, just in general. When you see the price point of this lens, it is very daunting. Without sale, just regular price, it is $27.99. Now, if you're just a hobbyist and you only do this for fun, this lens might not be worth it to you. But, and I say but, now if you're a photographer who's gonna use this for a lot of things, whether you want to do casual portrait photography, sports photography, wedding photography, this lens can get it all done. Now, football games or any sport in general, you are getting absolutely every emotion, every form of action possible. I'm gonna show you some clips real quick of video from this actual lens. Here, I got some footage of a football player just throwing the ball around. It is pretty dark at the stadium. It is pitch black outside, so the only light available is from the stadium lights. I am using a medium image stabilization on the actual camera. I am hand holding this with no tripod, so it's a little bit shaky because, you know, I'm a little bit shaky. Now that is shot at 1080p, 60 frames per second, and this is 4K on the Canon EOS R at 24 frames per second. Now the beautiful and amazing thing to come out of this lens is the 9 aperture blades. That shallow depth of field and that creamy bokeh on a lot of these photos is just beautiful. Now, one thing I do need to mention about this lens is that it is very sharp. At that same game, I was trying to get some up close and personal photos. I was trying to capture some emotion and trying to test out exactly how close and how sharp I can get the detail. In this photo here, the detail in his jersey where you can see the Cinco is amazing. You can see the detail in all the reflections in the back of the helmet and the glares. Overall, looks really good. And the next thing I do want to show you is actually going to be the focusing. This is a sporting event, so there's going to be a lot of moving objects. I'm using AI servo. I'm going to skim through these real quick. These are all unedited. It seems to have lost focus on one of the photos. So out of the 15 photos in this sequence, it unfocused maybe twice. So it looks like 87% of the time this lens worked perfectly. So that's a passing grade to me. I'm good. Coming from Canon's first 3 iterations before this lens, they definitely made it different. If I compare this lens to something like a 24-105, this is only 1.5 to 2 inches larger than that. And when looking right down the barrel, it doesn't look very much wider at all. Now, why is this? Well, Canon is pretty much trying to save real estate. Canon basically took the safe route of, oh, you're zooming in on a lens, the lens gets bigger. And they did the exact same thing on this lens. Now, when I used to do sports photography in high school, I traditionally used a 70-200 Tamron Mark I. Now, that was a very clunky lens, very loud and fidgety lens, but it didn't move. So going from that to this, zooming in on a player, now don't get me wrong, it's not the end of the world. All I gotta do is zoom in and it gets bigger, but then now it's too big, it's huge. One thing to keep in mind about this lens is that it does get pretty heavy after a while. I typically don't use a camera strap anymore because I do a lot more filming and it does get in the way. But the entire football shoot, I did not use a lens strap at all, and by golly, do you need it? Now, the football game, I was there from roughly 5 to 9, which is 4 hours. If you're doing a wedding, however, that can be anywhere from up to 8 to 10 to sometimes even 12 hours. So I'm gonna recommend you get a lens strap, and I recommend doing some heavy weightlifting, maybe some pull-ups, maybe some deadlifts, whatever you need to do to start carrying this lens around like it's nothing, you do you. And to those people who have shaky hands like me, and for people who get tired very frequently, this does have really good stabilization. Canon says this does have up to 5 stops of shake correction, and with the ultra silent motor, that's what makes this lens USM. This lens makes next to no sound, which I really appreciate Canon. Because I remember with that old Tamron, I'd be at like a theater rehearsal, and it would just be no, everybody's gonna look at you. Nobody wants to be that guy. Nobody. Let's get into some wedding photos. Here I am at my buddy Chris's wedding. Thankfully, this was an outdoor wedding, so this lens really came in handy. Not to knock anything with indoor weddings, but this lens does perform better in outdoor situations. All in all, this lens has been a great addition to my arsenal, and I typically pair it with the Canon RF 35mm 1.8 as well as the 24 to 105mm f4L. All the links to these lenses will be in the description through Amazon affiliate links in case you want to check them out for yourself, see what you like, see what works for you. All in all, thank you Canon for making this lens, and thank you for watching, listening, and subscribing. I will catch y'all in the next video whenever that is. I had a lot of fun making this video. I hope you had fun watching it. Subscribe for more photography content, and I will see y'all in the next video, whenever that is. Bye-bye. What's a pirate's favorite camera? The EOS. Arrgh. I'm sorry.